You've probably heard the phrase, the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. But what if I told you that has less to do with luck and more to do with habits? Small daily decisions that build up over time like compound interest. See, money doesn't just grow because someone is smarter or born lucky. It grows because of what they do every single day, the things that nobody else sees. Let me tell you a story. There were two men who started at the same job in their 20s. Same salary, same opportunities. One spent his weekends relaxing, scrolling through his phone and saying, I'll start saving when I make more. The other one spent 1 hour a day learning new skills, listening to podcasts about business, and reading books about money. Fast forward 15 years, one is still living paycheck to paycheck, and the other owns 2 rental properties and a growing online business. The difference wasn't luck, it was a habit. Rich people build their life around growth, not comfort. Every morning they do something that moves them forward, whether it's planning their goals, learning something new, or thinking about how to make their money work for them instead of working for money. Poor people, on the other hand, spend their mornings reacting to life. They check notifications, rush out the door, and wonder why things never change. And here's the real truth. Most people don't even realize they're building habits that keep them broke. For example, when someone earns a raise, their first thought is, now I can buy something nicer. But the rich think differently. When they earn more, their first question is, how can I make this extra money work for me? The poor see money as a tool to spend. The rich see it as a seed to plant. One study by Thomas Corley, who spent 5 years studying self-made millionaires, found that 88% of wealthy people read at least 30 minutes a day. Not fiction, but self-improvement, finance, and biographies of successful people. Only 2% of poor people do the same. Why? Because the rich are obsessed with learning what they don't know. They know the more they understand about money, people, and opportunities, the more doors they can open. Now, let's talk about discipline. The poor often say, I just don't have time, but the rich make time. They manage their day around priorities, not comfort. They wake up earlier, not because they have to, but because they know those quiet hours in the morning are when their brain is sharpest. They set goals every single day, even if they don't hit them all. Meanwhile, the poor wait for motivation to show up. But the rich don't wait for motivation, but they create momentum. Another thing most people don't talk about. Rich people are not afraid to be uncomfortable. They take small risks over and over again. They invest when it's scary. They start projects without knowing all the answers. Poor people avoid risk because they fear loss. But in doing so, they lose time. And time is the one thing you can't get back. Let's look at money behavior. When poor people get paid, their first reaction is to spend. Bills, groceries, fun done. When rich people get paid, they separate their money immediately. A portion goes to savings, a portion to investments, and then what's left is for spending. It's not because they love saving, it's because they've learned control. They understand that money is a tool that either controls you or serves you. The moment you decide where it goes, you take back your power. There's also this habit of thinking long term. Poor people think in days and weeks. I'll survive until Friday. Rich people think in years and decades. If I invest this now, what will it be worth in 10 years? They understand delayed gratification. They know real wealth doesn't come from chasing quick money. It comes from being patient when others quit. Let's be real. Building wealth is not about working harder. It's about thinking smarter. 2 people can work the same hours, but one of them is planting seeds that grow. The other is cutting them down before they even sprout. You can see this in spending habits too. Poor people often buy things to look rich. Designer clothes, new phones, fancy cars. But rich people buy freedom. They spend on things that give them more time, not more stress. One of the most powerful habits the rich have is surrounding themselves with people who challenge them. They know that environment shapes everything. If you hang around 5 people who complain about money, you'll be the 6th. But if you hang around 5 people who talk about business growth and ideas, your mindset starts to shift. Poor people often hang around others who validate their excuses. Rich people surround themselves with those who challenge their limits. And don't think that rich people never make mistakes. They make plenty. The difference is they learn fast. When something fails, they don't see it as proof they can't win. They see it as information. That mindset alone keeps them moving forward while others give up. So if you've ever wondered what separates the rich from the poor, it's not just education or background, it's these invisible daily choices. The books they read, the thoughts they entertain, the people they spend time with, the way they handle fear and failure, and most importantly, how they see time. Because rich people understand that time is their most valuable currency. The real question isn't what do they do, but what do they do differently? And in the next part, I'll break down the specific mindset shifts that turn ordinary people into millionaires. Habits you can start today, even if you're starting from zero. Because the truth is, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much of it you keep, grow, and control. Most people believe wealth comes from big wins, that one lucky break, that perfect business idea, or some secret investment no one knows about. But the truth, real wealth is built quietly through small, repeatable habits that compound over time. The people who make it big aren't doing magic, they're just consistent. Let's take an example. Two people decide to save money. One puts away $10 a week, the other says, "That's nothing, I'll start when I can save more." Fast forward a few years, the first person has built a habit, not just a savings account. They've trained their brain to prioritize wealth. The other person, still waiting for the right time. The right time never comes. You have to create it. That's one of the biggest differences between the rich and the poor. Action versus intention. Poor people think about what they want to do. Rich people start doing it, even if it's messy at first. The rich know progress beats perfection every single time. They treat money like a game, not in a careless way, but in a strategic one. They know the rules, they learn the patterns, and they stay in the game long enough to win. You'll also notice something else. Rich people think differently about work. Poor people trade time for money. They say, "I'll work more hours to earn more." But rich people trade ideas for money. They ask, "How can I make money even when I'm not working?" That's why they build systems, digital products, investments, side businesses, things that work while they sleep. Now, here's the interesting part. Most of these systems start small. A simple ebook, a course, an affiliate link, or a YouTube channel. But because they stay consistent, those small things grow into assets. Poor people give up when results don't show up fast enough. The rich stay patient because they understand compound growth, that invisible curve where nothing happens for a while, and then everything happens at once. Another powerful mindset. The rich don't fear learning something new. They embrace change. When AI came along, most people said, "That's too complicated." But the rich said, "How can I use this to save time or make money?" That's why they stay ahead. The poor wait to see what happens. The rich create what happens. You'll also notice that rich people protect their energy like it's gold. They don't waste time arguing, gossiping, or comparing. They know focus is a currency too. Every minute spent complaining is a minute you could have used building. Poor people often stay stuck in negativity, blaming circumstances. The rich don't blame, they adapt. They say, "Okay, this didn't work. What's next?" That simple mindset shift turns obstacles into opportunities. Let's talk about spending. Rich people spend based on value, not emotion. Poor people buy to feel good now. A new outfit, a new phone, a fancy dinner. But rich people buy things that make them feel good later. Assets, education, freedom. It's not that they don't enjoy life, they just know the difference between pleasure and progress. Another key difference, the rich track their money. They know where every dollar goes. Poor people often avoid checking their accounts because it's stressful. But rich people face it head on. They treat their finances like a business. They analyze, adjust, and improve. Because what gets measured gets managed. You can't fix what you refuse to look at. And here's something powerful: gratitude. It sounds soft, but it's actually one of the strongest habits of wealthy people. They practice gratitude every single day. Why? Because it keeps them grounded and focused on abundance, not scarcity. Poor people often live in lack mode, always thinking about what they don't have. But rich people focus on what they do have and how they can multiply it. Gratitude opens your mind, scarcity closes it. The difference in habits also shows up in how they handle failure. Poor people take failure personally. I failed, so I'm not good enough. Rich people see failure as feedback. That didn't work, but now I know what to fix. That's how they grow faster. Every loss is a lesson, every setback is data. They don't fear falling because they know they'll stand up smarter. And when it comes to goals, rich people write them down. They visualize them, talk about them, plan around them. Poor people keep their dreams in their heads, hoping things will just fall into place. But here's the truth. What you don't define, you can't achieve. Clarity builds confidence. Confidence drives action, and action builds wealth. Now, I'm not saying being rich is easy, but it's not. But the difference is that wealthy people commit to the process even when it's not exciting. They repeat the basics over and over: saving, investing, learning, growing. The poor get bored and stop too early. The rich get disciplined and push through the boredom. That's how they win. If you really look close, wealth isn't about money, it's about behavior. It's about the mindset that says, "I'm in control of my life." It's the habit of taking responsibility, learning every day, and choosing long-term rewards over short-term comfort. That's what separates the rich from the poor. Not luck, not background, habits. And here's the thing most people miss. You can start building those habits right now, no matter how much money you have. You can start reading, learning, saving, tracking, and thinking long term. You don't need to be rich to act rich. You need to act rich to become rich. Because wealth doesn't start in your bank account, it starts in your mind. The way you think, the way you talk to yourself, the way you spend your time. That's what decides where you'll be 5 or 10 years from now. So if you take one thing from this, but let it be this: change your habits and you'll change your life. The poor wait for a miracle. The rich create one through action. Your future wealth is built on what you do today, not what you plan for tomorrow. Start small, stay consistent, and remember, real riches aren't built in a day. They're built daily.